Okay, so probability, page 36. So what we're looking at, okay, with probability. Well, does anyone already know anything about probability? Some words that might come up. Yeah.
Probability means, for example, what's the chance of it, of the world ending today? You would say it's very unlikely, but it's not impossible because it can happen.
Okay, so let's take some of this vocabulary out of it. So chance is one word. You said another couple. What were you going to say?
There's a small possibility and probability.
Okay, so we can use the word possibility as well, which is kind of like probability, but the word chance you use. Millie?
Or there's unlikely, very likely.
Okay, so here's some other words. So when we describe the chance of something happening, okay, when we describe the chance of something happening, in words we have a scale, okay? For instance,
It's like what's
we start with it's certain. Now the word it's certain means it will happen, for definite. Okay.
certain.
Now when we talk about things that happen outside in real life, very few things can be described as certain. Can you think of anything, and I know this is going to cause arguments, can you think of anything that is certain?
It's certain that we will eat today.
No.
It's not because
Exactly, well that's the thing, you could, it's not
Well,
certain.
It's certain that you're gonna breathe now.
Well, it depends.
No, not if you die on the
Depends
spot,
if your
that's
maths
true.
teacher gets annoyed with you and
Well,
sticks a
it's
bag over
certain
your
that-
head.
It's certain that you woke up this morning.
Yes. Oh yeah, you can.
Well,
you can say
we're
something
look-
has happened. Yeah.
Well, hang on, that's looking at something that's already happened.
Oh.
Remember, probability, we're looking at something that will happen or might happen.
It's
or,
certain that I'm gonna move just now.
Yeah,
That
it's
makes
not because
sense.
you didn't move.
Because
but
if I would have had a heart
but
attack
before
right now,
it
then I would
happens,
still
but
be
before it happens, is it certain that you're going to move?
Oh, it's
Anyway,
certain.
that the water is water.
Tabitha.
It's certain that there'll be clouds in the sky.
moving.
No.
No.
Somewhere in the world there will be clouds.
Yeah. See, now there are.
Well, no,
That's
but the thing is,
It's certain that space is black.
Yeah. Could you say facts like that? Like
No.
it's
but
certain
is
that.
space black?
It's certain that
How do
Earth
you know
exists
you're in
because
space?
Yeah, probably that's where his brain.
But again, we're talking about events that will happen. If you're talking about, like, a fish is a fish, you know, that's not something that we're saying that will happen, you know.
So you can say.
Earth exists, yeah, but if I said, what is the probability
It's
of
certain.
Earth existing?
it's certain. That, it's
99%.
certain. It's certain that Sophie's gonna talk just now. Or
Well, is that
Oh, we're
talking?
recording this one. Wow.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this word certain, if we talk in
we're sure, like
every day, it's actually very difficult because you could say, a lot of people come straight up with, it is certain the sun will rise
I was
in the
about to
morning.
say that.
well, it is.
Yeah?
It is
That's a
certain
normal
that a
one.
baby's going to be born
Ha-
today.
It is certain that a baby's going to be born today. However, really, there is an argument that says, well, maybe not.
It's
Yeah,
Yeah, but there is like
There is a baby
every
that's
day.
born.
There's like thousands of babies.
Every second.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's
right
now.
that's
Every second.
assuming that something else doesn't happen that affects it. Okay.
Well,
It's
for
certain that
example,
someone's
like,
gonna
she
die.
doesn't
have a miscarriage.
Well, no, the thing is, it's like, well, what about the dinosaurs? You know, they became extinct.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
it's
can
certain they're
say
gonna come
50-50 chance. That
Well,
dinosaurs-
okay, well, hang on. Before we start saying 50-50, because that's a bit different, right?
No, it doesn't.
This word certain, when we talk everyday thing, but when we start talking more mathematical, for instance, we look at different things. The word certain does come up. So, for instance, I will introduce things like, if I roll a die,
Oh yeah.
The probability.
it is certain, if I roll a normal die with 6
It's
numbers
certain
on,
that I will
it
roll.
is certain I will get a number between 1 and 6, or including 1.
Probability.
It is certain,
Maybe
right?
Probability.
your
Probability.
dice like in
On
a,
the corner.
in a room.
Yeah, that's always right. Really?
Well, you guys can, like, if you said, I'll get 6 and it's normal dice, but you have like 50-50 chance of getting 6.
No, well, it's not 50-50.
Oh
This
no.
is what
out of
this is what we need to look at.
But
But
It's
anyway,
1 out of 6. It's
hang on a
1
minute.
out of
Let's
6.
let's go back to this. Yeah, you're You're right. One
There's
answer.
only 1/6.
Exactly. Well,
But
we need to get to explain that. Let's do it in a more structured way. So this word certain is difficult to use, but when we start doing more mathematical type stuff, it becomes easier. And then the other words, however, get less useful. So we have from certain something is then very likely to happen. Now that is something that you can use regularly, yeah, in every day. It is very likely that if I walk outside today, I will get rained on. It is very likely that if I go to England on holiday, it will rain.
It's very likely
The sun
that.
doesn't exist in England.
Right. So this
I know one that's.
this is quite useful.
I know a certain one.
Then we've got likely, okay, and then the other side we've got unlikely,
Very unlikely.
very unlikely,
Uncertain. Uncertain.
and then not uncertain, because uncertain
Definitely
is
not.
unlikely, or
Definitely not.
it's the word is
Impossible.
impossible. The
Nothing
opposite of
is
certain.
impossible.
Yeah, that's
Nothing
never
is
say
impossible.
never.
Never say that.
Never say never. That's a problem.
That's
Yes,
a
you
gay
can't-
song.
Yes, yes, there is something
Careful
impossible.
the way you describe things, Nico.
There's something-
Language.
Justin Bieber. I don't care.
So,
There's something
what
that-
comes between
We're never going to-
likely and unlikely?
50-50.
Right, that is one of them.
Some guns.
But there is a reason why it's called
Half chance.
50-50.
Oh,
Have you got any other words rather than explain?
there's half chance.
There's a probability.
Huh. Half.
All of these are a probability. It's called
Equator.
even. So if you've got an even chance, that means it's the same chance for as against.
Did
Okay.
you know there's more of a chance that that an asteroid hits me right now than me winning the lottery?
Oh wow.
What if
True
you won
fact.
the lottery and NASA didn't hit
Well, there's more, I said there's more.
Actually, that's a good point to discuss. Does stating something is more likely than something else
Make it
mean
true.
that it not make it true? It is more likely, but does it mean that it will definitely
I
happen
said
and the
it's
other one
more
won't?
likely, so I can win the lottery,
Yeah.
but the asteroid can't hit me before I win the lottery.
There's so for instance there is more chance of being struck by lightning than there is of being on a plane crash. Okay? Because more people in the world get struck by lightning
Yeah, what happened?
than being on a plane crash. However, if you're in a plane,
it? And you get hit by
No, that doesn't work because like it's really stable. A plane's
No,
really
because
stable.
it's metal.
but anyway, so it doesn't mean that you will definitely get struck by lightning before you're in a plane crash, because things happen,
No, because a plane flies over the clouds, so the lightning doesn't go up.
Sometimes
the
it
lightning
goes in the middle.
No, but I love it when it goes.
Planes get struck by lightning
Oh,
quite
I'm
often.
so scared of
Will
that.
you ever die?
Ew,
Do they
why?
go down?
No,
I'm
no.
so scared of diving.
They're in a cocoon that's designed. Planes are designed because they go through storm clouds and things.
Yeah,
Ricky getting somewhere like you.
Woo!
Yeah, but like
cars
when I
can't
go
have
through
Because
that,
it's
I know,
special,
but
because
still,
it's
what
got,
if you
it's
go?
got.
Right, guys,
I
can
have a
I
question.
bring you back, Jamie?
Yeah.
Can I bring you back? Questions? then?
Is this also going to be asked in the test? Like,
Yes, is it going to be a
Right. Well, these words.
What's the
Right.
probability of you getting an A?
Jamie. Right. These words become less and less useful with probability. In fact, we only really use these words discussing things, But when we get into the mathematics of probability, we don't tend to use these words. We use numbers, and this is what we need to get to eventually. But just to start with, we're going to get you to understand these words and what it means. Okay. So, what we'll do, we'll have a look at this exercise 3A. All right. If I get you to have a look at question 2 first, exercise 3A on page 37. All right. Let's have a look at it together. All right.
we're gonna do it.
Okay, so question 2, we're looking at these two grids. I've coloured in the squares, because obviously I'm not very good at drawing squares. So, what we're looking at, we've got two grids, and this is where it's important. Let's look. How many shapes in each grid? Sophie?
15?
Nope.
Oh no, sorry, 12.
There are 12 shapes in each grid. So that's actually quite important for us to know. That's what we look at. Right? 12 shapes in each grid. Well, not 12 shapes, is it? It's 12 objects. Same shapes. But okay, so if we have a look. Picking a something from grid something is impossible. So if we look at anything, what do you reckon? Sophie?
Picking a heart from grid 1 is
Picking a heart from grid 1 would be impossible. So what we're assuming is that we've got a bag with all those shapes in, and you can't see, you put your hand in and you just grab one. Seraphima, what would you say? Anything? Come on, something's impossible. I need to check you understand.
Picking a sphere.
So Sophie said picking a heart from grid 1 is impossible
Picking a triangle.
because there are no hearts.
Picking a
Yeah,
triangle.
okay.
Oh!
Picking a triangle.
You don't
Grid
even need
two.
to make up a shape.
No.
There's, oh, right.
So the one they're asking you for is picking a triangle from
Grid 2.
grid 2.
I have a different.
Before you shout out anyone else, leader Seraphima, explain to me why it is impossible to get a triangle from grid 2. Because there is no triangle in grid 2. Good. Okay. Right. There is no triangle, so it's impossible to get a triangle. Tabitha.
Picking 13 shapes from grid 2 is impossible.
True, but we're looking at what happens if we want to pick one shape.
I know.
We're only picking, but you're right. Picking out 13 shapes from grid 2 is impossible. You're right as well.
69 shapes out of
Yeah,
grid
we've
two.
yeah, we could go on forever. So
But do you mean if I would say picking a heart from grid 1 is impossible in a test? Would that be wrong?
no, unless I said
You say that.
using the shapes that are
provided.
there.
Okay.
State, yeah, but yeah, if you said picking a heart from grid 1, it's fine, isn't it? It's correct. Let's have a look then. So picking something from grid, what is likely? What would you say, Jaina?
Picking a triangle from
Picking a triangle from grid 1 is likely. Yeah, I would go for that, although there is a slight problem with that, but we'll
Picking
come
a
back to that again.
Picking a circle.
Millie?
picking a square from grid
Yeah.
2.
Picking a square from grid 2
Picking a
could be considered likely, but I'm looking down the list and there are other ones as well. Giselle? Anything else you could add to that?
Picking a
Picking
rectangle
a
from
circle from grid 2 is likely.
Do you think picking a circle from grid 2 is likely?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? But anyone want to argue against that? Jamie?
Picking a
No,
rectangle.
argue against what she said. Giselle said picking a circle from grid 2 is likely.
No,
Nico, what would you say to that?
I would say that it's not likely. Picking a
Square.
square out of grid 2 is likely because there's only 2 circles.
There's only 2
I think it
circles
would
out
be
of
more
12.
likely to pick a rectangle.
So there are lots of squares, there's not many circles. So I would say it's quite maybe unlikely to get a
It would be
circle.
likely to.
Tabitha, before you strain yourself.
Picking a square from grid 1 is likely.
Yeah.
Because it's not
Yes.
a should, but it
Yeah.
could.
Well,
And it's got more of a chance than it's got.
remember, where does likely come against about the evens? Is it above the evens or below the evens?
Above.
So it's above. It's towards the more likely, the certain. So I would say, actually, if less than half of your shapes are squares, we wouldn't be describing it as likely.
No, because
So we would say if it's half. So let's have a look.
But like likely is the term used for it can happen, but not so certain. It's likely.
No, likely means it's likely to happen. Like, I will have to talk to Jamie in the lesson. That's quite likely.
But here in the grade we did,
Yeah.
it says likely is right before 50 even.
Yeah, so
There's
it's
certain-
more than half. Yeah,
So it's wrong.
Millie?
I still think it's good 2 and all squares.
Yeah. So well, I would then go to the next one. Well, let's look at D. Picking a what from what is highly unlikely.
Picking a
Rectangle,
Dana?
rectangle in grid 1.
Picking a circle from grid.
no rectangle from grid 1.
Well, it's not a no, is there? We could go with circle from grid 2. Yeah, not bad. Picking a rectangle from grid 1 is even more unlikely. Yeah, definitely. What about, how would you describe, looking at grid 2, picking a rectangle from grid 2 or picking a circle from grid 2? Which one? How would you describe the two?
Unlikely.
So, Sophie?
Unlikely.
So are they both unlikely?
No. Picking a rectangle from grid 2 would be unlikely.
Yeah. And what about, because there's only 3 of them, what about, there's only 2 circles, so,
Highly unlikely.
and then there's only 1 rectangle in grid 1?
Unlikely to
So,
pick the
right.
rectangle.
This is the point I want to make.
Oh.
Right. Where is the difference between highly unlikely or very unlikely and unlikely? Trick question. Because it's all a matter of opinion. That's the thing with these words. Sophie?
Unlikely is likely to happen, but
No, I'm asking how many shapes do I need to make it unlikely or highly unlikely? And it's a bit of an opinion. Okay? Let's have a look at the 50-50. That's the evens. So, leader. 50-50. Picking a what from grid what is 50-50. That means that there are the same, that half of the shapes are this particular shape. Which one would you say? Come on, leader. I know you're smart and I know you've just switched off because you can't be bothered this morning. You're actually the top scorer in tests most of the time, so I know you can do it. So grid 1, I'll give you that clue. Which shape is it 50-50 to get that shape? Pardon? A circle. Why? You two girls, next lesson need to come and sit here so we're all together, so you're not out of part of it. Sophie?
it would be a triangle, and Nicholas told me because there are 6 triangles,
Yeah.
and the rest are also 6 squares.
So please stop packing up and making noise. I know what you think it's time for, but yeah, in grid 1, now remember it's 6 triangles out of 12 shapes. It doesn't have to be 6 triangles and 6 something else. What we're saying is it's 6 triangles and 6 not triangles. So there's a 50-50 or an even chance. The squares is more than 50-50 because there's more than 6 of them. Okay? Right, we'll carry this on next lesson.